can begin now. So, today we're going to be talking about textures and materials and what their roles are. One of the simpler ways you can explain a texture would be you can turn a mesh that doesn't have anything on it into giving it detail that you normally couldn't model or sculpt in. And to do that, you need to make texture maps. Or to do that, you need to make materials, and to make materials, you need texture maps to put in the material. Hey, Anthony. So to start off with on how to make a texture, I need to know what a texture is, and that's why I brought us back into the UV editor. Because the reason is, hang on, let me select the whole thing here. The reason is, whenever we left off, faces are selected. When we left off, we left all these UV shells in the, with all the UV shells inside of the UV editor. We have to keep them all in one square, because you can move them outside of the square, but these are outside the square is just other grids, other squares. So you want to keep this one as the 0 to 1. The 0 to 1 square is the first one. This point is 0, this point is 1. Same thing up here. You can always go -1 or go to +2 and keep going up and down. And those are normally reserved for if you have models that have, if it's the same model but you have different textures you want to use, you can just switch coordinates that it takes the textures from. But your default model and most you make will just stay in the 0 to 1 square, which is this whole square here. And you want to cram every shell, you want to cram it all into the same 0 to 1 so it saves on resources. And then you would choose the resolution of the 0 to 1 depending on the resolution of the image. And you would do, so for that, you would use a power of 2 resolution, which are perfectly square images that are done, they're done. So normally it's like, it would go from 8 to 16 to 32 to 64 to 128 to 256, you know, so forth and so forth. This will make them, it's a standard, so it makes it easier to actually use. And if you look at 3D, here's a more 3D example. You have a 5x12 cube here with the same texture on the front. That's a 5x12 texture here, 5x12 texture here, and a 5x12 texture here. And it just lines up perfectly. That's about the simplest way to explain that without going into more mathematical. I'm sure there's better ways, but none I can think of right off the top. And you know, you can see they use power of 2 in computer science and all sorts of other things. But so now we got that sort of explanation, that janky explanation out of the way. Let's move on to how do we make these textures. And for that we'll need a software called Material Maker. You can also use, I know the industry likes to use a lot of big industries, they use Substance Designer, which is you have to pay $20 a month to Adobe to acquire. But with that subscription, you would also get Substance Painter, which any texture materials that you make in Designer, you can move over to Painter and paint on your textures. Like with this character here, that all the textures are painted on. But today we'll just be using Material Maker to make all the textures and material. So you can go to materialmaker.org and you click download, and it'll take you to the itch.io site to download it. So you just click download now. If you want to donate money to them, you can. But for now, we're just going to keep it free. And then you would just download because you can use this on Linux, Mac, and Windows. I'm on Windows, so I'll just download the Windows version. Just extract Material Maker. And then here it'll be under the folder that you created. You don't have to extract to the folder the same name. You can make your own and extract it there, but I find it just much easier this way. Then after that is finished, all we do is load it up. It's my other monitor. Right here. So now you have, it's already set up to do PBR textures, which is anytime you're working in any modern engine, it's going to be PBR unless you change the shaders to something else. But most of everybody prefers PBR because it's a lot better and it's a lot easier to work with. To keep it simple, because the game that we're going to be working on is in RPG Maker, which means everything will be pre-rendered. Not only pre-rendered, but a lot of things are going to be more at a distance and size down. We'll just go ahead and keep the texture on 1024 by 1024. We don't need 2K and 4K and 8K texture. That's overkill. In fact, we could cut down to 512 by 512 on most things too if we need to. But for now, we'll just do 1024 by 1024. So to start, just like with modeling where you need to find a reference, or drawing, you need a reference to make a texture for something. First, what we'll do is we'll look at what we made, which is the lantern here. So let's go back, look at modeling here. This here. We need to see what material is going to be what. Obviously, the lantern body is going to be metal. Most of this is going to be metal. Even the ring and the little notch thing up here, it's going to be metal. The only thing that's not going to be metal is the shroud, and that's going to be more of a bone-like material. So what we'll do is we'll start with the metal one because these are all going to share the same metal. material. So what we're going to do is we'll go to, let's see, metal texture, and you don't want to copy it. You just want to find one that looks to your liking. And remember, you want it to look realistic, so you don't want like a perfect shiny metal. You're going to want scratches. You're going to want some rust or dirt and dust. So, you know, something like this one where it's got some grunge in there. It's got some scratches and all that. Or even like this one where it's a bit more cleaner, but it's still dirty. Because these are what makes things realistic look. Anything that looks perfect just looks fake to it. So what you can do is, there's one software I like to use called PureRef. So you start it up. You can just drag and drop images into PureRef right here. Now that we got that, size that down. Yeah, that's the plan. Is you gotta make it look like it's got age to it. And so you would start by making it look perfect. So to get the metal look down, we'll make perfect looking metal, and then we'll add scratches and stuff to the top of it. I'll show you. So here is our preview. Here is the preview of what we're going to do, what we're working on. You can view it in 3D if you want, but if your computer can't handle the real-time rendering like that, you can just use the preview 2D. So what you want to start off with is, well, mostly you have the metallic thing right here. What you can do is, because the way these things work is white and black is equal to 1 and 0. So black is 0, white is 1. And if you want to change this here and you don't feel like sliding that, you can always use a gradient. You can use sort of like a gradient, or you can do a uniform. You can do a uniform color. So you would just go to like grayscale here, and it just does the same thing. So you can just go ahead and, so you need to get where the light's going to hit this object, model, effect. We'll do a sphere so we know. You can light use pretty good. So what you'll do is since it's metal, we'll just go ahead and increase it. Yeah, it's already changing. Now you don't want to do full 1 because nothing is ever a full 1. I would recommend doing about 0.995 for this on the metallic. Now roughness is how shiny it is and how reflective it is. So the more rough it is, the less reflectiveness you'll see. So like the roughness of 0, it's like a mirror. It's like a pure metal mirror. But you don't want that. Like, see this here? There's no reflection really. All the light is being diffused and scattered along the surface. Nothing's shining really back at you. What you'll do is just get to where it still looks metal, but you're not really getting anything out of it. So probably about 0.45 is pretty good. And then now we'll start adding. So now we got our base metal material down, and now we need to start adding scratches and other stuff to it to make it look more realistic. And lucky for us, we have under here, you can actually pull down, like there's scratches right here. You can do all sorts of, like you're going to put noise and everything in it. So what we'll do is we'll start with some noise, so we can sort of get that cloudiness back there in here and some of those darker spots. So what we can do, and all this is randomized, so just mess with it and experiment with it to get what you like, because you're really not going to know what it is until you start messing. Now the preview 2D, it'll show you the individual nodes right here. Like if I click this, it's not going to show anything because this is the material. The preview 2D shows really the textures that you're working with. So it's showing this noise map here. And do there's clouds 1, 2, and then there's 3, and you can scale it too. So you can scale it where it randomizes it, and it sort of makes it adds on. So you got 1, and now you're looking at 2 of them together. You know, it keeps going up and up. So you get something like that. You really don't want that. But we'll stick with clouds 2. Looks pretty good. It's not too heavy looking. And what we'll do is we'll add, you'll want to, is it blend or is it? No, it's, so you want to, I can't remember the name of the node to actually mix it, or is it blend? It might be blend. Let me check blend. Okay, so yeah, it would be this, but we'll do. What you want to do is you don't want to add just one type of noise. You want to add noise, you want layers to it, because it's not going to look, because if you just add, okay, so say we just add the clouds on the, we'll add it to metallic, add that on its own, and you sort of get it right here where it's already clouding up. You looking all a little grungy and all that. You want to, it's still too clean looking because the noise is back, because you can even add it to the roughness here. But I really don't like adding things to the metallic, to the roughness, because I like having a slider to adjust on its own. It gives you that fine-tuned control that you really want. So we will add some, let's add some dirt here. So here's what what's the dirt here. You can choose, like the other one, there's 3 options. And you don't have to be stuck with whatever is on whatever maps are on here. You can add your own, but right now I'm trying to keep it simple for everybody. So we're just using what they have on here, and you can actually do quite a bit with just what they have. So now we got the dirt on top there, and what we can do is we can mess around with, we just have it overlay it, lower the opacity so it's not too much. Now look, it's already looking a little bit better. And then we'll add it, go back to metallic here. And then we'll change the roughness because it's still a bit too shiny. Go ahead. Oh, is the stream lagging? Or is it just the software that's lagging? Because Material Maker lags a little bit. Hang on a second, let me look at my... Oh. Moment. Okay, I see. Yeah, I see what's going on. Okay. Let me... Alright, it might be, let me try closing some of these programs. Close Blender real fast. Okay, Alright, Brandon. Is it still lagging any, or is it doing fine? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what's doing it. Yeah, because Material Maker does use a lot of things. Hang on, so let me see here. Is it still, is it not lagging then, or? Well, it looks like it's, hang on, we'll see. I got a preview window going up on my other monitor. Well, it's hard to tell with the music because the music has stops already in it. That's the type of music that was playing. But I'm trying to, I'll keep talking to see if it'll help it, but see if I can continue on. I think what's doing it is because of the live preview here. It does eat up a lot. So. Oh, okay. Thanks, Brandon. But with oh yeah. So now it looks like it's cloudy on the. Now it's looking better, cloudy and stuff. But we still don't have the scratches or anything. Hang on, we gotta see if there's that here.
Looking for more protein in your protein? Lucky you, Vega is the easy and delicious.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Probably doesn't help to have it at 1440. We'll lower that down to 7. Why not? There we go. Alright, there we go. Yeah, I was running that at 1440 too in the background, so that might have helped. Alright, but now we got the little cloudy metal ball here. So. Pull this back. We're going to add the scratches to this. So we're going to add another blend right here on top. We'll put another blend in here. Then we'll get some scratch. We can start off with some directional. We'll start off with some directional noise. This one, 1024. So, sorta. So we'll go noise 3. This in here. Fact. Do. If I go and do this right here, any black spots will be the opacity. Then we get something sort of like this, where it's got the scratches underneath it. See? There you go. And then we'll just add it to the metallic here to look at it. Sorta. See where it's going now. The call. Did you call me? Oh, you did call me. I didn't see it. Hang on. All right. Can you hear me? Yeah, that's why I closed it, Anthony. Yeah. I'll just close YouTube. We really don't need it. I mean, all this footage is going to be used for the tutorial videos that will probably be voiced over, so. There? You there?
Can you hear me now?
Oh my god. Hang on before you start. No, before you start talking, I'm turning that down.
I was watching your stream.
Stop. Turn that way down. All right, you may speak.
All right. What do you what's your streaming output?
I don't know. It's doing fine now.
Because I think is it
Yeah.
because I was gonna say if you're running stuff in the background, you might want to lower your output and make sure that it's at the same as YouTube because
Yeah, it's doing fine now, bro.
All right. All right. That's just what I was wanting to make sure because I couldn't really explain.
No, it's doing fine now. It's a stream. Yeah. All right. I will add the final bit of scratches to sort of finish this off with. And we'll go with, we'll just get the scratches generator here. We get the scratches generator. We'll put this here. So multiply it here. Increase the randomness of it. You can change and add as many layers as you want. You can change the width of them. We want them very thin. You don't want them too long. You really don't want them all. Sort of something like that. Then we look here. Change opacity. Take a look. Now we got some scratches in there. Now we can mess with these other things right here. So the main thing is we want to change the color of the lantern to more of a darker, because the one we did base it off is closer to black, so we can sort of lower it down a little bit there. And then if you look, sort of got more of a darker color. In fact, we can change it to a little bit brighter. There we go. See? And after that, we'll go to got your normal. Your normal is going to be anything that when the light hits it, because right now it's all flat looking. You want if you want the light to affect it to where it looks like it's that textured on it, you would just move it into normal. So all of this here we can just move over to normal there, and then it's like that. Or if we don't like that, we can do is what I would recommend. Sometimes you want to get tones or other things called levels or tones, put it, then attach it to normals. What you can do is sort of mess with the white and black here to balance. The darker it is, the more inwards to the object it'll look, and the whiter it is, the more flat the texture will look. You just want surface level texture, really. Sort of adjust it how you. Now we can. But the best advice I can give is just to play around with it till you get how you like it. And the good thing is about using things like this is you can always go back and add things to it to make the texture even better. Now what we'll do is we need some ambient occlusion. So you can actually just get the HBAO here. It's already set to 1024 by 1024. You just plug that into ambient occlusion. So this helps with shadows and the darker areas, because when you take it off, it does a lot better. It brings out the darker areas a bit more. And you can mess with the intensity of it too, so you can turn down the intensity if you want it to look a bit flatter, sort of like that. You hardly ever use it at full strength. Now emission is only for if the texture is got light. So there's no light on the iron portion of the lantern, so you won't need it. And there's your opacity map if you want to make it see-through. Other than that, we've got a very basic iron sort of look here. Like, it's not perfect. I'll probably go back and change it and add it up. But for demonstration purposes, it works pretty well. In fact, now that we got that normal map and stuff, we can actually lower the roughness here. See, now it's got that shine. It doesn't look like plastic anymore. So now, whenever you finish the texture, you'll do is go to File, and first you want to save it. So if you want to come back and edit it, so you want to just go to Save. So now we go to Documents. Now we'll save this one and make a new folder, call it ML for Material Maker. Files. Save it. Iron. After it's saved, we can go to Export Material. It's already got a Blender option. So you can, if you're using Unreal, Unity, or Godot, you can use that too. You go to Blender. Go back here. Folder. Then we'll make a new folder. We'll do this for materials. Now, when you're naming a material to use for other people, under the name of it, you'll put M for material, and then underscore, and then the name of the material. So iron. And now it's ready just to put into Blender. Now, the final thing that we're going to use, and we don't have to use Material Maker for it, it's going to be the bone shroud. A lot of that can be edited in Blender, but that's going to require us to bring, but either way, we use Blender or Material Maker. We'll have to bring things from the outside in. So what we'll do is, let me close Material Maker. Close that. After all that's done, we will reference thing out. Then what we'll bring up is there's a website you can use. Everybody uses. I know in college we were told to use it. It's textures.com. You can get free. You can download free textures, materials, and they even have 3D assets that you can download. And I would recommend checking it out. It's a pretty good place to get stuff. They even have HDRs that you can download for your skylights and all that. We need what we'll need is you'll need so you're gonna want you're gonna want a little bit of a grunge map on the bone. Otherwise it's just gonna look like flat plastic. So let's look at some grunge maps. Now these don't always come in seamless power of 2 textures, so if you want to, you'll have to doctor them yourself and make them that way. But we'll just find a simple one that we need. This one's actually pretty good right here. So you just click on the one you want. And then you can get I guess you gotta actually go to FreeCon. Okay, so they've changed it a bit since I've been on here. So they got a lot of, okay. Well, it used to be completely free. You get I guess we are going to have to use Material Maker to make the bone material instead of what I was planning. Oh, that'll work out for the better probably. They don't have it free anymore like they used to. So we'll just go ahead and reopen Material Maker. All right. So now with this one, we don't have to have it all that much work done to it. We really need just some grunge maps here. No, they don't. So we'll start off with a cloud. Now we will blend it with, we'll blend it with Perlin. Here. Right. Now we'll go to Add some tone. Mess with the tones of this. Sorta. A little bit flushed out. That's sort of our little quick and dirty grunge map type thing there. And you're not gonna, for the bone portion, you're really not gonna mess with normal or anything. We're really just gonna want a bit. Now, when you look at it, sort of got this going on. Then now what we can do is slide that here. That's go ahead and plug this into transparency. Want it barely noticeable. Here. You sort of want it to have a yellowish color from the candle burning inside of it, or feel like a burnt yellowed bone type look. Like that. So, then we'll add. We can add some emission to it, so it's sort of, what I would do is sort of go here. We'll add this to emission. Go to now we can just sort of lower the. But it'd probably be best to wait, add that into. We're making it see through. I can just add a light into it in Blender and render it out. So now, do file and save. I'll just name this one. We can come back and change it later if we need to. We'll just name it bone. And then we'll click export material, Blender. Call it m_bone. All right. Now we have the two things that we need to continue the model. And quit that. Back into Blender. Here. Now we gotta import the materials into Blender. Let's see. All right. So do iron. So now let's get normal. Put out. Texture. Iron. Shadow. Or not. It's normal. With this work. Then we got all the texture map. We got the texture maps for the iron in, pretty sure. Do. Let's see. Right, now we got the metal in. Let's see. We need normal. My volume's out? Shouldn't be. There's something. No, I didn't mute myself. Hang on a second.